Hello and welcome. This is Edoreld doing another mod spotlight. This time around we're gonna take a look at Infinitubes. Infinitubes is another mod by Infinitubes that allows you to move items around in an intelligent manner. So let's get started. The most basic block you're gonna need is the teleposer. The teleposer is crafted with 4 iron ingot pieces, 2 redstone dusts, 1 diamond, and 2 of those new transport conduits. And you can craft 64 transport conduits by having almost the same recipe except with an iron block on the top and a cyan dye on the bottom. So once you have the teleposer, you can place it in the world and you'll see that it has 6 differently colored sides, and on one of those sides there's gonna be this black cross, which is the input side, and then there's gonna be the white cross that is the output side. So let's place a couple of chests and see how it works. I'm gonna place one chest on the output side, on the input side, and one on the output side, and if I put any item in here, it's gonna instantly teleport it to the other side. We can change these sides by right-clicking on the color squares here. In stands for input and out for output, and if we change the input to the red color, you'll see that the input has moved to the red side. And we can change both input and output to be whatever direction we want it to be. So right now the input is on the top, output is here, and it's gonna work exactly the same way. Alright, so that's the basic functionality of the teleposer. Let's move on to most advanced stuff. How would it work to move items between this chest here and that chest over there? Well, it's almost the same. You put a teleposer with the input side to the chest here, and then you put a teleposer there where the output side is gonna point to the chest, and then you connect them with transport conduits. And now this is not gonna work because when you're using transport conduits you need to provide some energy, and you can do that by crafting yourself a Pressurizer with a block of gold, 2 gold ingots, 5 iron ingots, and 1 transport conduit. And you place it anywhere below a pipe in the network, and then you can give it either industrial craft energy or buildcraft energy. And I'm just gonna use a redstone energy cell. And now the item will have moved. And that's how you transfer items between remote locations. Now let's take a look at the filter functionality. Under the filter tag you have 9 slots in which you can put any item. And when you put an item in the filter slot, basically it's gonna tell the teleposer to only accept those items. So if I were to put a chest in here, it won't move because there are no teleposers that are accepting anything or chests. However, if I put sandstone in here, it's gonna get moved to the teleposer that is accepting sandstone. If you have 2 teleposers that are accepting sandstone, by default, if you leave them at the priority, at the same priority, it will try to send the sandstone to the teleposer that's farther away. However, if you change the priority and put a higher priority on this one, for example, then it'll try to send the sandstone to the teleposer with higher priority. Next up, you may have noticed that to the right of the input and output labels there are black boxes. They are actually text boxes in which you can write. So let's see how they work. If we go to the teleposer here that's outputting items into the network, and we put cobalt in the output label, what it's gonna do, it's gonna try to label items in the on the input side chest. And if it doesn't find a teleposer that has the same label but on the input side, then it won't send them anywhere. So if I were to change, if I were to put some items in here, they're not gonna go anywhere because none of these teleposers have an input of label of cobalt. However, the moment I change the input here to cobble, the items will go through. Now you can put more than one label in the output box by separating them with commas. First it's gonna try to send items labeled with cobble. If it fails, then it'll try to send them with a label of other label. On the input side, we've also got some special characters. We've got the vertical line to allow a teleposer to accept more than one label, and you just put them like this. And then we can use also the asterisk, which stands for anything. So this teleposer is now accepting any labels that start with COBBL, and then there's anything after. And you can use the asterisk anywhere you want, beginning, the end, or the middle, and it'll still work. These text labels accept advanced commands like Ctrl A to select everything. You can also Shift to select a certain portion, and you can Ctrl C and Ctrl V to copy them, which facilitates, putting labels everywhere. Now there's a last block in the mod. It's the dislocator. You craft it like this: 4 iron ingots, 1 diamond, 2 pieces of glowstone dust, and 2 transfer conduits, and that gives you 8 of them. And you simply place it connected to your network. You want to make sure this funny looking side is pointing to the conduits, to your network. So if we see here, we have the green side connected to the conduits, so we want to put the green color in the directions slot here. This block can take items from one inventory attached to a teleposer and move them to another by using labels. So let's put a let's see a practical example. Now I'm going to put a furnace here, and I'm going to put a teleposer on the top side, making sure the input side connects to the network. And I know the output side is connected to the top side of the furnace because by default it puts it on the opposite side. Now this teleposer has an input label of furnace. This one has an input label of cobble. And if I say search for cobble and eject into furnace, and I put some cobble in here, and I can increase and decrease the amount by right or left clicking, or shift right or left clicking. Let's just put 17 for now. Now when I apply a redstone signal, it's gonna try to move 17 cobblestones from the chest attached to the teleposer with an input label of cobble and move them to the teleposer with an input label of furnace. So let's see that in action. First let's put some cobblestone in here and pulse once. And now the cobblestone amount has decreased and this teleposer has received the cobble. And that's how the dislocator works. So let's see a setup in action. Here I've set up my own system where items will be sorted depending on what type they are. Ingots will go to one chest, gems and diamonds will go to another, and the chests are right here. And they go there because I've configured them like that. Additionally, I have a grinder here that will accept ores, and all of the ores are gonna go into the grinder. And I've got these dislocators that will move water buckets into the grinder. Now let's see how it works. Okay, so normally the grinder has a water bucket, the ore will process and I'll get all the output. And the output is going to go into my catch-all chest that accepts anything. A bucket in the output chest is going to be caught by this teleposer, which is gonna only grab empty buckets and they're gonna put it over there. Now my dislocators take the empty bucket over there and put it in the transposer, and then this one takes the filled bucket and puts it back in the grinder, ready for another process. You could of course automate these teleposers and have it so that the system is fully automated, and say like every 2 seconds take the bucket and put it in the transposer, every 2 seconds put it in the grinder, and so many different possibilities. So this was a spotlight on the Infinitubes mod by Infinitubes. Hope you enjoyed watching. I'll see you next time.